Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Watches TV, where I watch all the TV shows, and then I come over here and I react to them and I respond to them. Two things I want to say before I get into today's video about last week's episode of 1,000-Pound Sisters, which, listen, Linda, I watched it, I took notes, and I know the episode's coming out tonight, but I'm doing the video. I am not losing my notes that I took from last week, even though I haven't made the video yet, so I'm making the video today. But two things I want to say before I get into this is that, number one, a lot of people seemed to really enjoy or watch or have conversations about the JonBenet Ramsey documentary that just came out on Netflix. I did that coverage a couple days ago, and a lot of people seemed to want to have conversations about true crime documentaries over here. If there are any true crime documentaries that you guys want me to cover that I have not already covered over here, please put it in the comment section below. If I haven't watched it, I will watch it and then I will react to it over here. But I keep a running list of all the true crime shows, documentaries, series that I watch. All of the main ones I have watched, and I have no problem coming back over here, even if I watched it 3 years ago, and doing a reaction to it. So if there's true crime that you want me to react to over here, that you guys would like to have a conversation about, please let me know in the comment section below. I really enjoy doing true crime documentary or commentary over here. The second thing I wanted to say is that people ask me on a regular basis, Peter, let me know what shows you're binging because I want to binge watch whatever shows you're watching with you. Okay, so because I watch 1,000-Pound Sisters, people have recommended to me to watch the show 1,000-Pound Best Friends, okay? That is also a TLC show. So a couple weeks ago, I watched 10 minutes of the first episode, and I was like, I don't think I can get into this. But a couple nights ago, I started watching again. I think it was 2 nights ago. I started watching it again. I'm currently on this, I think it's the 6th episode of season 1, and I am hooked, you guys. I am so hooked with the stories of Megan and Vanessa and Tina. I am loving this, okay? I am loving this show so much. And after I finish season 1, I will come over here and I will do a season 1 reaction. And then I'm going to binge season 2, and then I'm going to try to catch up. I think there's 3 episodes left of season 3. It's currently on right now. So if you're looking for a show to binge watch and catch up on, it's a really easy show to binge watch and catch up on. I have a feeling that a lot of people that watch 1,000-Pound Sisters probably already watched 1,000-Pound Best Friends because it's kind of the exact same framework of a show. In fact, the doctor that they go to is Dr. Proctor, who Amy Slaton and her brother Chris originally went and saw in Atlanta in the beginning of 1,000-Pound Sisters. They now see, I think Dr. Smith is what his name is. But originally they saw Dr. Proctor, and he's the doctor for the women in 1,000-Pound Best Friends. So if you like Dr. Proctor, there you get to see him in TV shows again. They all thirst over him. They all thirst over Doctor. And do you remember Tammy and Amy used to thirst over him too? And so it's so funny to see these women thirst over him as well. But anyway, okay, so I'm binge watching 1,000-Pound Sisters, or 1,000-Pound Best Friends and 1,000-Pound Sisters. But I'm binge watching 1,000-Pound Best Friends right now. And when I finish season 1, which will probably be in the next day or 2, I will come over here and I will do my reaction to season 1. But today, I'm losing my breath. Today I want to talk about 1,000-Pound Sisters with Amy and Tammy and the rest of the Slaton family. Season 6, which is that season that we're currently on, episode 7. This is from last week. Tonight will be episode 8. So let me get into this. Okay, so imagine downtown Lexington, Kentucky. I think it was Lexington, Kentucky, maybe Louisville, but it looked like Lexington. Downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Amy and Tammy Slaton, Christmas time, sitting in the back of a limo, cussing each other out, and Tammy's done, and she's had it, and Amy's gonna go eat by herself, and she don't give a fuck, and she's gonna fart her way all to the restaurant, and that's how the show starts. It's a beautiful Christmas image. Tammy and Amy are in the limo. So the episode before, that ended with them fighting in the limo, and the next one started with them fighting in the limo. And Tammy is cussing, and Amy's cussing, and then Amy gets out, and she's like, I'm just going to go to dinner by myself. I'm going to take myself out to dinner. So Amy goes, and she eats dinner by herself. While Tammy, who is so pissed at Amy for showing her ass and cussing in the limo and all this kind of stuff, and then she starts cussing, and the limo driver's in there like, what? Who is she cussing at? And she's like in there by herself, and she's like, I'm done. I'm effing done. All this kind of stuff. I was like, so the things that you're pissed at Amy about are the things that you're doing right now. It was interesting because at the beginning of this season, Tammy really looked like she had come full circle, and was growing and whatever. This episode, I don't know what's going on with Tammy. But I do think that a lot of it had to do was that they went to this burlesque dancing class, and Amy had a lot of fun, and Amy let her hair down, literally, and whatever. And Tammy seemed to be rather reserved, and I think she still is really struggling with her body and her body image. And the way that has come out previously is that Tammy's very jealous of other people that can do that. And so back in the day, she'd be jealous of Amy, and she'd say, I can't do the same things that you can do, Amy, and stuff like that. And I think we're seeing a little bit of a repeat of that, even though she's lost, 500 pounds at this point, right? I think that we're seeing a repeat of that with Tammy. And I understand it from an emotional level, but like Amy's her biggest support that she's had all along through all of this. So to take it out on Amy, because Amy is like enjoying her best moment in this burlesque class, I didn't really understand it. So anyway, that was how the episode started. Then it's about Amy and Chris, and they go to the genealogist. Tammy was supposed to go, but she didn't want to go because she's still pissed off at Amy. Now, the reason they're going to the genealogist is it the genealogist? Is that what it's called? You know, like one of those ancestry people. It's basically because they're setting up this trip to go to London. So that's how the whole season's going to end. I think, is it tonight the season finale? Maybe. It's where they're going to go to London because they are trying to find out if they're related to the Queen of England, okay? Not the past queen, any Queen of England. They're trying to see if they're related to, okay? Any queen of anywhere, basically. That's all Amy cares about is, are we related to the Queen of England? So they go to this genealogist, and because their mom says that they're related to the Queen of England, Chris says he doesn't believe it. And Chris goes in, he's talking about how he's tired of everybody fighting. He just, like, wants the fighting to be over. I do feel bad for Chris this season. Like, Chris kind of seems like he's stuck in the middle of it. I mean, Brittany's got Tammy living on her couch, and they show this one scene of Brittany, and they were like, they asked her something like, how is Tammy, how is it with having Tammy live there? It's supposed to be 2 weeks. It's now going on 3 months, okay? And she's like, they're like, how is it with Tammy living at your house? And she goes, it's going. I mean, she's so ready for her to be out of there, you can tell. But Brittany's too nice. She won't say anything. But anyway, but Chris is kind of stuck in the middle of everybody. He's stuck in the middle of Tammy and Amy fighting. He's stuck in the middle of Amanda and Tammy fighting. He's stuck in the middle of all of it. So anyway, and I was kind of thinking about that this week. I was like, before, and I do really think that Amanda has a huge part in it, but this week, Tammy really showed her ass when Amanda tried to, like, offer an olive branch, and I'm like, Tammy's having a fight with Amanda. Tammy's having a fight with Amy. Tammy's having a fight with this person. Maybe Tammy is the common denominator, you know? I don't want to think that because she seems to have, like, emotionally grown so much, but maybe she is. I don't know. Then Amy, at the genealogist, suggests that all of them go to the United Kingdom. She's like, I want to find out if we're related to the Queen. And they make all these jokes and stuff. And then Chris says, well, you wouldn't fly to Florida when we went to Florida. Remember that whole fiasco where I think it was Amanda's son drove her down there in the minivan because she wouldn't drive down there. And then she got there and they got in a fight. And she's like, I'm going to go home. I'm driving home right now. And they're like, you're not driving home in the middle of the night in that minivan. Okay. So anyway, Chris is like, how are you going to fly to England when you won't even fly to Florida? And she's like, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Then it shows Amanda and Misty, and they're at the park, and they're going to have this big family picnic with everybody. Amanda wants, or Misty, I don't know who wants, but because Amanda's moving to Florida, so she wants to get the family together because she's moving in a few weeks. And then, I think this episode's when Amanda moves, and then the next, maybe it's 10 episodes this season, and then I always wonder why the seasons weren't longer, but anyway, then they must go, because they go to London after Amanda moves. But Amanda's already back in real life. We know that her boyfriend ghosted her, and she's back in Kentucky, and she's got another boyfriend that she's been showing all over the TikTok. So, hey, Amanda, good for you, girl. Get the D. Anyway, so Tammy and, so then it shows Tammy and Chris and Brittany show up, and Amy's not there because the babies are sick, is what she says. But then Amanda says she hopes it's not because she and Tammy are fighting, because that's kind of what they always do. Which I think is interesting because Amanda doesn't show up to shit when she and Tammy are fighting, so she knows that from firsthand experience, right? And then they're all like sitting there, and Tammy doesn't really want to talk to anybody, and so then she gets on a swing, and it's actually this very sweet scene where I think this is where I have this emotional kind of like attachment to Tammy. I mean, when you look back where do you remember the doctor told her she had to make 70 steps in a day, and she couldn't even do 70 steps in a day. And now she's like walking all over the place, right? And she gets in the swing, and she's like, the last time I sat in a swing was when I was a kid. She's like, I haven't been able to sit in a swing ever, in the last 20 years or whatever. It was this very touchy moment, and Chris sits down next to her and all this kind of stuff. Then Chris tells everybody about going to the genealogist and asks them if they all want to go to London. Tammy's in right away. She's like, I want to go. Amanda asks if they're staying in a hotel or if they're renting a house. And I'm like, girl, where are they going to rent? Right down in the middle of, maybe they probably will end up renting an Airbnb. But she's like, a house. I'm like, a house in downtown London? Girl, Does TLC have that kind of money? I don't think they do, okay? I've seen where else they put you up, and then she calls it lodging. Which that is such a country thing, and I live in Indiana, okay? When people be like, where is the lodging at? And you think it's like some like, a lodge house in the middle of the country or whatever. And then they all say that they're going to go except Amanda. And then she finally says that, yeah, she'll go. And she doesn't want any dumb shit, though. She goes, I don't want any dumb shit. She goes, I don't want any dumb shit. I'm not dealing with it. And then Amanda, so then she finally agrees to go. And then it's Chris, Brittany, and Tammy go to Amy's for Tammy and Amy to work things out. But Tammy says she's just going there because Chris is her ride home. That's the only reason that she's going there. They stop on the way home from the picnic. And then Chris, because they all, of course, are going to go there because the kids are sick, and then they're all going to get sick, right? But none of it makes any sense. And then Chris says none of them will admit when they're wrong, which is true. Like, none of them do. When any of them fight, I mean, it's so weird, but I guess, like, I'm an only child and I don't have siblings, so I guess. But, like, Amy and Tammy are fighting, and the next second, Amy's like, do you want to go get passports together? And Tammy's like, yeah, let's go get passports together, and everything's fixed, and they're fine. They ain't cussing each other in the back of no limos anymore. So anyway, then they start talking about what they're going to do in London, and they talk about seeing Uncle Ben. Everything they say, they get wrong, and I live for it, because I'm the same way. I get song lyrics wrong, I get everything wrong, okay? So they say, like, instead of, like, but this is the thing, is, like, none of them catch on, okay? I think it's Tammy, or maybe it's Amy that says Uncle Ben instead of Big Ben, and they don't, any of them catch on at first, right? It, like, cracks me up. They say stuff wrong all the time. I live for it. Then Brittany says that she is ready for the house to be done so Tammy can move out and she can get her husband back. That's what Tammy says when they ask her how it's going. She goes, it's going. And she's like, I'm ready to have my husband back because he's been working on the house all this time, right? Which Chris says he's glad he's working on the house because if he wasn't working on the house, he wouldn't be losing no weight, okay? That he's got to lose for Dr. Smith so he can get... This whole season was all dedicated to the skin removal surgery, of which they still don't, any of them haven't been approved for. So that's going to be 3 seasons down the road, probably. And then he talks about doing a 5K to get in shape and get ready for the walking trip in London. He's like, this is going to be a big trip where we're doing a lot of walking and things like that. And Tammy and Misty agree. They're both like, yeah, we need to get in shape for all this kind of stuff. Then they show Amy and Tammy getting their pictures taken. This guy that takes their pictures, he's real nice, and he's known them forever, and I guess he used to do, like, family pictures of theirs and stuff like that. But, like, in the middle of it, he says to Tammy, he goes, now, you remember I used to volunteer, basically, he, like, volunteered for, like, the firefighters or something like that. Like, they're in the middle of taking these pictures, he goes, do you remember on several occasions when we came and hauled you out of the house because you couldn't get out of the house yourself? We took you to the hospital. I'm like, why would you bring this up? She's having pictures taken. Why would you have this, like, talk about her worst, some of her worst moments? It was so funny. But then, it was so funny. But then what I loved was that the passport picture taken turns into, like, all these, like, glamour shots, like, one on each shoulder, like, Amy's on Tammy's shoulder. It turned into this, like, ridiculous photo shoot. It was hilarious. Anyway, and then everyone goes to walk and train for the 5K, okay, that they're all going to do. And, which cracked me up because, like, none of them are really walking. And Chris is, like, running like this. He's, like, running laps. I mean, he wants that skin removal surgery like nobody's business. And he is he's running faster than I could run. He's running laps around that thing. Tammy can't walk over these rocks because she's afraid she'll fall. And she still is, like, really struggling walking and stuff like that. But it's a lot of the fear in her head, too. And Amanda offers to help her get over these rocks. There's like this like piece of wood that's like over these rocks. And it's like this little ravine. I mean, the little ravine is literally like this with like 20 rocks in it. And Tammy won't walk over it. And Amanda offers to help her. And she's real nice about it. And Tammy says that she'd let anybody else help her, but not Amanda. She doesn't need help from Amanda. And that, she says she misses having fun like they used to and tells her, okay, so this is when Amanda and Tammy, they sit down to have this conversation. Everybody else, Brittany and Amy, is Amy there? Brittany and Tammy, Brittany and Misty and Chris is running laps around. They're like going to go get theirs in. So it's Amanda and Tammy sitting there talking. And Amanda says that she misses having fun like they used to and tells her she loves her and she is proud of her. Tammy doesn't say anything. Tammy she doesn't say one thing. And then Amanda asks her how she would like to go forward with their relationship, and Tammy says she doesn't. And it's such a hard scene to watch because Amanda is making such efforts to reach out to Tammy. I mean, she's basically taking full responsibility. I mean, Chris said that nobody would, and here she is, and she's like, you know, sis, like, I know we said things to each other that we hurtful, and I'm sorry. And she's like, I don't really remember how she says it, but she's like, I want us to be, I miss doing things like this with you. I'm so proud of you and whatever. And Tammy is sitting there and she is just cold as shit. Now, you got to remember, Amanda kicked her out of her house, okay? The house that she was living in and the house that she was eating dinner at. She kicked her out of there, wherever they were sitting on the couch just having a conversation. But Tammy holds a grudge like nobody's business, okay? And Amanda says that she protects her name even when she's not around, okay? Which I kind of love that quote on Instagram that says, pick people that fight for you in rooms you're not in. And that's basically what Amanda is saying. She's like, when people are talking shit about you, I stand up for you even when you're not around. I do not know why, but this sets Tammy off like nobody's business. I feel like there's a whole lot that we're missing in this whole scene. Like something that Tammy knows that like Amanda is like talking shit about her. But what's interesting is that Amanda says that, but Amanda has talked so much shit behind Tammy's back to everybody, okay, that I don't know how she can fight for her and fight against her in those same conversations. Because I've witnessed them because they show them. But I think there's a lot in the edit. And then, I missed the whole part about where Tammy made a full lap around without stopping, which was huge. And like I said, before she couldn't even walk 77 steps, and then she made a whole lap around this lake. Okay, it's her cousin's farm or whatever. Is Amy there? I think Amy says she has to go to the bathroom or something like that. I think Amy is there. And then Amanda says she protects her name even when she's not around. And Tammy gets mad and walks away. And that's the end of the episode. And she gets really mad. And I'm like, what just happened here? Like, Amanda tried so hard. And Amanda's like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, what else can she do? You know? And I don't know if it's setting up for this huge fight that they're going to have in the UK. Or that, you know, Amanda's getting ready to move. And so, because that's, I think, this week's episode is when Amanda moves. And everybody's real sad. And the U-Haul takes off. And they all, like, wave to it and stuff like that. Did you see it in the previous? That's tonight's episode. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for them to hit London? Oh, my God. I can't wait. Amy said she's going to fart on the guards at Buckingham Palace. Anyway, I guess we'll be seeing that happen in real time. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.